Number 1. The function f is defined by f of x equal to 8x. For what value of x does f of x equal to 72? So if we have this value of f of x, then we can replace that in the function, and then we can find the value of x. First, let's copy the function. F of x is equal to 8x. We know the value of f of x, that's 72, equal to 8x. Now we can divide both terms by 8 to get rid of the 8. We'll get 1 here. 1 times x will be equal to x. And 72 divided by 8 is 9. So the value of x is 9. The right answer is B. Number 2. In the figure, two lines intersect at one point. Angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. The measure of angle 1 is 72 degrees. What is the measure of angle 2? If angle 1 is vertical with angle 2, that means that they have the same angle. So if angle 1 is 72 degrees, therefore angle 2 has the same 72 degrees. The right answer is A. Number 3. On a street with 7 houses, 2 houses are blue. If a house from this street is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a house that is blue? So we need to use this probability formula, and we need to find the number of favorable outcomes, in this case blue, and the total number of outcomes, so the total houses. What is the number of favorable outcomes? So how many houses are blue? 2. 2 houses are blue, and we want to get the probability of selecting a house that is blue. So that's 2 divided by the total number of outcomes. So the total number of houses is 7. So the probability of selecting a house that is blue is 2 divided by 7. The right answer is B. Number 4. The graph of function f is shown where y is equal to f of x. Which of the following describes function f? We have two options. Either it's a linear or exponential function. As we can see, it is clear that it's a line, so C and D cannot be the right answer. And we could use the slope formula, or we know that it's increasing when the value of x increases, and as well the value of y or f of x also increases. And in this case, yes, it goes from 2, 1 to 4, 2, and so on. So the right answer is increasing linear, A. Number 5. The graph of the function f is shown where y equal to f of x. What is the y-intercept of the graph? We have to find the y-intercept, and we know that the y-intercept is the point where x is equal to 0. So if the value of x is 0, the value of y is negative 4. and it's this point right here. And we have to write our answer. The value of x is 0 and the value of y is negative 4. The right answer is B. Number 6, we have these two equations. X is equal to 8, x plus 3, y equal to 26. The solution to the given system of equations is x and y. What is the value of y? So we need to find y, and we know the value of x. So we'll replace x in the second equation and we'll find the solution. We'll copy the equation x plus 3y equal to 26. We said that x is equal to 8, so let's replace the value. 8 plus 3y is equal to 26. 3y will be equal to 26. Since the 8 is adding, it will go to the other side of the equation with a negative sign, negative 8. 3y equal to 26 minus 8 is 18. And finally, we can divide both terms by 3 to get rid of this 3. And it will become 1. 1 times y is equal to y. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. The value of y is 6. Number 7. The amount of Hannah's bill for a food order was $50. Hanna gave a tip of 20% of the amount of the bill. What is the amount in dollars of the tip Hanna gave? So we know that Hanna's bill for a food order was $50, and she gave a tip of 20% of that amount. And we want to know what amount is the 20%. For that, we can use the rule of 3, and we need to know the 50 is the 100%, so it's the total, and we want to know what amount corresponds to the 20% of the tip that Hanna gave. And for that, we can do a cross multiplication. So 100 times x will be equal to 50 times 20. We can get rid of 1 0 here and the other one here. And 1x will be equal to x. 5 times 2 is 10. And this is dollars. Therefore, the amount in dollars of the tip that Hanna gave is 10. Number 8. Which expression is equivalent to 5x to the power of 5 minus 6x to the power of 4 plus x cubed? So as we can see the answer choices, we have to factor this expression. We could factor the coefficients and the variable or the variables. If we look at the coefficients, of each of these three terms, they don't have too much in common, just 6, negative 6 and 8. It does not apply for the, so we cannot factor the coefficient. What else? We can factor the variable. And what do these x have in common? All of them have x cubed. We get the lowest exponent of the variable because that's what all of them have. So x cubed will multiply this x cubed to all the terms. 5 times 6. Now in this part, when it's a multiplication and we have the same base, we know that we have to multiply x cubed times something in order to get the x to the fifth. And in multiplication we just add the exponents. So this one has to be a 2. That's it. We got the first term. Now the second, negative 6. In this case, if we say that we have to add the exponents, so it has to be x, so 3 plus 1 will be 4. Now let's go to the last term, plus 8. And here we already have the x cubed, so we don't need to multiply it. And this is the result of this expression, which is the same as option B. Therefore, the right answer is B. Number 9. The radio of the length of line segment XY to the length of line segment CB is 6 to 1. 6 to 1. If the length of the line segment XY is 102 inches, what is the length in inches of line segment CB? This problem is about expressions, and we have some information about the radio and the segments XY and CB. So in this case, we have to look for the keyword to, and we have another one which is. The first one, to, means a division, since we're talking about radio. XY to segment CB, which is the same as saying XY divided by CB. And 6 to 1, so 6 divided by 1, or 6 to 1. So that's what the 2 means. And now is, let's read again. The radio of the length of line segment XY to the length of line segment CB is this. Is, and is means equal. So equal the radio of 6 to 1. 6 divided by 1. So this is our expression, and we have the value of xy, so we can find the value of CB. And for that, since this is an equal sign, we can do a cross multiplication, xy times 1 and CB times 6. Let's do that. Xy times 1 xy equal to 6 times CB, and xy is equal to 102 inches, so it's 102 equal to 6 times CB. We can divide the two terms by 6 to get rid of the 6. we get 1. 102 divided by 6 is 17. So 17 is equal to CV. Therefore, the length of line segment CV is 17 inches. The right answer is A. Number 10, 7 parentheses 2x minus 3 equal to 63. Which equation has the same solution as the given equation? So we have this equation and we have to simplify it. First, we can divide the whole equation by 7, or the two terms. So 7 divided by 7 is equal to 1, and 63 divided by 7 is equal to 9. 1 times 2x minus 3 is 2x minus 3 equal to 9. We get this equation, and the right answer is A. Number 11, the function f defined by f of t equal to 14t plus 9 gives the estimated length in inches of a vine plant t months after Tavon purchased it. Which of the following is the best interpretation of 9 in this context? We can start by analyzing each answer option. So for A, Tavon will keep the vine plant for 9 months. Well, if we look at the function, it gives the estimated length in inches, so it cannot be associated with time. If we look closer, this 14t, t stands for the months. This term, yes, it's associated with time, but not 9, so it cannot be A. What about B? The vine plant is expected to grow 9 inches each month? No, because we're talking about 9. And if it would be that case, it should be 14 inches each month, because T represents the months. So it cannot be B. C. The vine plant is expected to grow a maximum length of 9 inches. Well, we don't have any restrictions here. We don't have anything like it has to be less than 9 inches or something in the function, so it cannot be C, which leaves us with option D. And this says that the vine plant was 9 inches when Tavon purchased it. Well, that makes sense if we look at the function. When it's 0 months, or when it was purchased, it will look like this. 14t is 0 plus 9. So the estimated length when this vine was purchased would be equal to 14 times 0 plus 9. If it's 0 months, t is 0, and 14 times 0 will be 0, which leaves that the function in 0 months will be 9. So it's the same as saying that when the vine plant was purchased, it was 9 inches. Therefore, the right answer is D. Number 12. we have this equation. What is a positive solution to the given equation? If we see the equation, we can get three values of x. To get one, the long way of solving this is multiplying by any of the parentheses we have. Let's use x plus 9 equal to 0 divided by x plus 9. Here, the x plus 9 divided by x plus 9 will become 1, and 0 divided by x plus 9 will be 0. So we'll only have parenthesis x plus 2 times parenthesis x minus 5 equal to 0. We can divide again to get rid of this x minus 5. Again, x minus 5 divided by x minus 5 will become 1, and 1 times x plus 2 will be x plus 2 equal to 0 divided by x minus 5 will be 0, and that way we'll find that x is equal to negative 2. That's one value of x. The short way of finding all the values of x, and the other one could be x minus 5 equal to 0, because these two parentheses will become 0, and therefore x will be equal to 5. That's the second value of x, and we can get one more, x plus 9 equal to 0. X will be equal to negative 9. That's the last value of x. And we are looking for a positive solution. This is negative, and this one 2. The right answer is C. X is equal to 5. Number 13, Brian saves 2/5 of the $215 he earns each week from his job. If Brian continues to save at this rate, how much money in dollars will Brian save in 9 weeks? Let's find the amount Brian earns each week. It's 2/5 of $215. If we know how much he earns per week, then we can multiply that amount by 9 and we'll have the result. We can simplify 215 divided by 5, which is 43, and 2 times 43 is 86. So Brian earns $86 per week, but we need to know how much he does in 9 weeks, so we'll multiply 86 times 9, and the answer is $774. He'll save $774. So the answer is $774 that Brian will save in 9 weeks. Number 14. A rectangle has an area of 155 square inches. The length of the rectangle is 4 inches less than 7 times the width of the rectangle. So that means that the length is equal to 7 times the width minus 4 inches. And the width is W. We need to find the width of the rectangle in inches. First, let's check. We have the same units, inches, square inches, and inches. Now we have the area, which is 155. Length times width. We know the area is 155 and the length is 7 times the width minus 4. And we have to multiply this by the width. So if we solve this equation, we'll find the value of the width. 155 is equal to 7 times w times w will be 7w square minus 4 times w, 4 times w. Let's order this equation. 7 times w square minus 4 times w minus 155 is equal to 0. Now we could solve this using the quadratic formula, or we could use this method. So we need the factors of 7 and negative 155. For 7 we only have 7 and 1. Let's divide 155 to find its factors. We have 5. 155 divided by 5 is 31. And 31 has only 2 factors, which is 31 and 1. So now we have to multiply 7 times one of these factors, let's say 5, and this one times the other factor, 31. So this 5 has to be negative, and the multiplication will be negative 2. 5 times 31 will be negative 155. So let's check that. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35, and 1 times 31 is 31. If we add them, the answer is negative 4. So yes, we got negative 4 and we have negative 155. And we obtain 2 parentheses. This one and this one. So the order goes like this. Parenthesis 7, w plus 31, we close parenthesis, open parenthesis, 1 times w, or just w, minus 5, and we close parenthesis. So those are the 2 values of w that we can get. Now let's solve the first one. 7 times w plus 31 is equal to 0. 7 times w is equal to negative 31. We divide both terms by 7. We get 1 times w equal to negative 31 divided by 7. So this is the first value, but it is negative. We cannot have a negative value, a negative width. So this one is not useful. So let's get the other one. W minus 5 is equal to 0. So w sub 2 will be equal to 5. This is the right answer. The width of the rectangle is 5 inches. Number 15. We have this dataset. What is the median of the dataset shown? What do we have to do to find the median? First, we have to arrange the data points from smallest to largest, or in ascending order. We have 4 and 2 4s more. 1 and 2. Now we have 5, we have 2 5s. 1 6, 10, and 18. So the dataset is in ascending order from lowest to highest. Then we have two cases when the number of data is odd or even. In this case, it's even because we have 8 elements, 2, 4, 6, and 8. We don't have a middle data. In that case, the median will be the average of the 2 middle data points in the list. So the average of 5 plus 5. These two numbers added and divided by 2. 5 plus 5 is 10, divided by 2. This is equal to 5. So the median of this dataset is 5. The right answer is B. Number 16. A right circular cylinder has a volume of 432 cubic centimeters. The area of the base of the cylinder is 24 square centimeters. What is the height in centimeters of the cylinder? So first, we have the same units. That's important to know. So we can just use the formulas. We don't have to do any conversions. And we need to find the height. The formula that can help us find the height is this one. The volume of the cylinder is equal to pi times the radius square times the height. We have the volume. We can have pi. We don't have the radius, and we need to find the height. We need the radius. But we have some more information. The area of the base of the cylinder is 24. And the base of the cylinder is a circle. So the area of a circle is pi times the radius square. And we have the area. And now we just have to replace to find the height. Let's copy the formula. The volume is equal to pi times the radius to the square times the height. So the volume is 432. We said that this is the area of the base of the cylinder, so it's 24 times the height that we need to find. Now we can divide the equation by 24 to get rid of this 24. We'll get 1 times h will be h, and 432 divided by 24 is 18. So the height is equal to 18. Therefore the right answer is A. Number 18. X squared is equal to negative 841. How many distinct real solutions does the given equation have? So let's try to solve this equation. X squared is equal to negative 841. we can try to get the square root of both terms, and here we can get x. But what about the other side? What about this term? Since it's a square root, we cannot get a real solution. So the square root of a negative number is not a real number. So this equation does not have a real solution. The right answer is D. Number 18. Line K is defined by y equal to 7x plus 1 divided by 8. Line J is perpendicular to line K in the xy plane. What is the slope of J? It's important to know that the perpendicular lines have the opposite reciprocal slopes. And in this case, we can represent both lines in this graph. So we have line K and line J. So that means that they have 90 degrees in every angle. And to find the slope of line J, knowing that these are perpendicular lines, we can use this formula. So the slope of line J will be equal to -1 divided by the slope of line K. This is the formula we'll use. So what's the slope of line K? Is 7. It's right here. It's the slope times x. So it's 7. Now we can replace the values. The slope of J is equal to -1 divided by 7. And this is the value of the slope of J. Therefore, the right answer is B. Number 19. The table shows the linear relationship between the number of cars, C, on a commuter train and the maximum number of passengers and crew, P, that the train can carry. Which equation represents the linear relationship between C and P? So if we know that there's a linear relationship and we have this table that contains points for C and P, we can use the slope-intercept form and then compare that equation to the answer choices we have. So how can we know if C is equal to X or P is equal to Y? We can replace those values in the equation. We'll use this two values, 3 and 174, using the A equation. 55 times 3 minus 174 has to be equal to -9. 55 times 3 is 165 minus 174 equal to -9. 165 minus 174 is -9. This equation is consistent. -9 is equal to -9. But what about if we use, if C is equal to Y and P is equal to X? So it could be 55 times 174 minus 3 equal to -9. So just looking at this, we know that it won't be consistent, because 55 times 174, it's 900, 570 minus 3 equal to -9. No, that won't happen. So this is the right way. C is equal to x. Now that we know the variables, the slope intercept will be equal to this. We said that p is equal to y, so p equal, the slope is the slope, m, x is equal to c plus b. Now we don't need p and c, but we need the slope, we need b. We can find the slope with the slope equation, so we can find m and we'll have the value b. Then with this b we'll get the right answer. Let's find the slope. The equation of a slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And these values are over here. We'll use these 2 points. This one will be y sub 2, this one y sub 1, and this will be x sub 1, and 5 is x sub 2. So let's replace the values in the equation. The slope is equal to the slope is equal to 284 minus 174 divided by x sub 2 is 5 minus x sub 1 is 3. Now the slope will be equal to 284 minus 174 is 110. 5 minus 3 is 2. Finally, the slope is equal to 110 divided by 2 is 55, which is this 55 we have in all the answer choices. So we have the value of the slope. Now we can find b. Let's use these 2 points and we'll replace in the slope intercept form. So p is equal to 174 equal to, the slope is 55, c is equal to 3, 55 times 3 plus b. 174 is equal to 55 times 3 is 165 plus b. 174, this positive 165 will subtract to the other side of the equation, negative 165 equal to b. 174 minus 165 is equal to 9. So b is equal to 9. Now we have the slope and the value of b. Now we can replace the value of the slope and b in this slope intercept form. So p is equal to the slope 55 times c plus 9. And here we can see that all the equations have the constant to the right side of the equation. So let's do that. Let's move this 9. 55c p will come to this side of the equation with a change sign, so minus p will be equal to, and this 9 will go to the other side with a negative sign, minus 9. This is the final equation, and as we can see, the right answer is A. Number 20. If 4 to the power of 8 times c equal to cubic root of 4 to the power of 7, what is the value of c? So if we look closer at this equation, we can see that we have the same base, which is 4. So if we have the same base, the exponents will be the same too. So we need to have the same base. Let's simplify this cubic root. So this cubic root can be expressed in this way. We have that. So that's the same, but the cubic root saying that it will divide the exponent of this number. So in this case, we'll get this. So 4 to the power of 8 times c equal to 4 to the power of 7 divided by 3. Now, if we have the same base, then the exponents have to be the same, which means that 8c will be equal to 7 divided by 3. Now we can divide everything by 8. Here we'll get c equal to 7 divided by 24. So the value of c is 7 divided by 24. Number 21. The solution to the given system of equations is x and y. What is the value of c times parenthesis x minus 2? So we need to find this value that has the variable x. And if we look at this term, 4 times parenthesis y plus 7, and this other one is the same, but with a different sign. If we just add both equations, we'll obtain a 0. We'll cancel out this, will become 0. In this part, we can just add the x, like 2x, x plus x is equal to 2 times x, and negative 2 minus 2 will be negative 4. Or we can just take as 2 times x minus 2. And if we look closer, this is almost the same. We just have to multiply it by 3. And then it might look easier, but I'll do it this way. 117 plus 442 is 559. Now 2x will be equal to this negative 4 will come to add to the other side of the equation, so it will be 563. and x is equal to 563 divided by 2. Okay, we have the value of x. We can replace x in here, so we'll have 6 times x minus 2. We'll multiply 6 times x. X is equal to 563 divided by 2, and minus 6 times 2 is negative 12. Here we can simplify to 6 will be 3, and 3 times 563 is equal to 1689 minus 12. So the answer will be 1689 minus 12 equal to 1677. So the value of 6 times parentheses minus 2 is equal to 1677. Number 22. In triangle ABC, angle B is a right angle. The length of side AB is 10 square root of 37, and the length of side BC is 24 square root of 37. What is the length of side AC? So we have a triangle, and angle B is the right angle, so it's this one. Now the length of side AB, let's say that this will be angle A, is 10 square root of 37, and the length of side BC, so this will be C, is 24 square root of 37. And we want to find the length of this side AC. How can we do that? We have the values of the two sides, and this is the hypotenuse, and it's a right angle. So we can use the Pythagorean theorem. C is equal to AC to the square, equal to A or B can be either side, it doesn't matter in this case. But let's just be specific. So A is the side BC, and B will be the side BA. The length of side A is 24 square root of 37 to the square. So plus the value of B, that's 10 square root of 37, and to the square. So let's continue. AC square is equal to 24 to the square is 576. Here we can cancel out the square root with the square, so times 37 plus 10 to the square is 100. Again, we can cancel out the square root with the square, so 100 times 37 And as we can see in the answer choices, we have the square root of 37. And we might need this 37. So let's keep them. AC squared is equal to, we add 576 plus 100 is equal to 676 times 37. Now we can apply the square root to all the equation to these two terms. We cancel out the square. AC is equal to the square root of 676 is, since we're getting a square root, we get two answers, positive and negative 26 times square root of 37. But since we need to know the length, it has to be positive. The length of the side AC is equal to 26 times the square root of 37. And the right answer is B. Number 23. We have this function f defined by the given equation. The equation can be rewritten as f of x equal to parentheses 1 plus p divided by 100 to the power of x, where p is a constant. Which of the following is the closest to the value of p? We have two functions. And we know that this value is equal to this value. That means that 1.84 to the power of x divided by 4 is equal to 1 plus p divided by 100, and the sum to the square. So first, we can say that 1.84 to the power of x divided by 4 is equal to 1.84 to the power of 1 divided by 4, and all of that to the power of x. That's the same, because if we multiply 1 times x, we'll obtain the same term. Now if we look here, we could get rid of this x and we'll find the value of p. So we could apply the x root to both terms, and that way we'll get rid of the x, because it will look like this: 1.84 to the power of 1 divided by 4 to the power of x divided by x, and this is equal to 1. And 1.84 to the power of 1 divided by 4 will be the same. And here we'll have parentheses 1 plus p divided by 100 to the power of x divided by x. This will become 1, 2. So we'll get 1.84 to the power of 1 divided by 4 equal to 1 plus p divided by 100. 1.84 to the power of 1 divided by 4 is 1.1646 equal to, we can get the common denominator, so 100, and here we'll have 100 divided by 100, so 100 times 1 will be 100 plus p. Since this 100 is dividing, it will multiply this 1.1646. The answer will be 116.46 equal to 100 plus p. Now 116.46 minus 100 equal to p. 116.46 minus 100 is 16.46 equal to p. This is our value of p, and as we can see on the answer choices, the closest value is 16. The right answer is A. Number 24. The function f is defined by f of x equal to a square root of x plus b, where a and b are constants. In the xy plane, the graph of y equal to f of x passes through the point negative 24 and 0, and f of 24 is less than 0. Which of the following must be true? So we have one condition here: f of 24 has to be less than 0, and we have this point when y is equal to f of x. So we can get one equation let's start. So we have the function f of x is equal to a times the square root of x plus b. Y is equal to f of x and this point negative 24 and 0. So we'll replace those values in the function. For x is negative 24, for y will be 0. So we have this equality. If we replace y in the function, y will be equal to a square root of x, x is negative 24, plus b. Now we know that y is equal to 0, so 0 is equal to a times square root of negative 24 plus b. Here we can divide the equation by a. Here we'll get 0, because 0 divided by any number will be 0. And a divided by a is 1, so we'll get the square root of negative 24 plus b. We have to get rid of this square root, so we'll get the square of both terms. 0 to the square is 0, equal to, here we'll cancel out the square root with the square, so we'll get negative 24 plus b. And finally, b will be equal to positive 24. Let's see what we can get with this condition. F of 24 has to be less than 0. We have to use the function f of 24 is equal to a square root. The value of x is 24 plus b. And we know that f of 24 has to be less than 0. So a square root of 24 plus b needs to be less than 0. Therefore, we can say that a is less than 0. Now let's look at the answer choices. We got that b is equal to 24 and a has to be less than 0. So we cannot determine a or b, but there's a relationship between a and b. Is a greater than b? No, because a is a negative number and b is 24. So 24 is greater than a. C cannot be the answer, therefore the right answer is D. A is less than B. Number 25. In the xy plane, a circle has a center C. The center is C with coordinates h and k. Points A and B lie on the circle. So they could be right here. So this one could be A and this one could be B. Point A has coordinates h plus 1, k plus square root of 102. And this triangle ACB that forms here is a right angle. So that means that C has 90 degrees. What is the length of segment AB? We need to find the length of the hypotenuse that forms here, AB. And as we can see, the segment CA is equal to the segment CB. Why? Because both have the same value as the radius. Now, so to find the length of side AB, we can use the Pythagoras theorem. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. And since we know that both sides have the same value, we only need to find one. And how can we find the value of the segment, CA or CB? We can use, since we have the coordinates, we can find the distance between them. The segment CA or CB is equal to the square of x sub 1 minus x sub 2 to the square plus y sub 1 minus y sub 2 to the square. H plus 1 will be equal to x sub 1, and k plus square root of 102 will be y sub 1, and h will be x sub 2, and k will be y sub 2. X sub 1 is equal to h plus 1 minus x sub 2, which is h, all of this to the square, plus y sub 1 is k plus the square root of 102 minus k to the square. Here we can simplify the h and the k's, and we'll have CA equal to square root of, we only have 1 here, 1 to the square, which is 1, plus square root of 102 to the square. Here we can cancel out the square root, so CA will be equal to square root of 1 plus 102. Finally, we can say that CA is equal to the square root of 103. Now we can replace here. C is equal to AB to the square, equal to the length of A is CA plus CB, and we found that CA is equal to a square root of 103, so 103 to the square plus square root of 103 to the square. We can cancel out the square root with the square, and we'll have that AB to the square is equal to 103 plus 103 is 206. But we have a square here, so we need to get rid of it. We cancel out the square root with the square, and finally AB is equal to square root of 206. Therefore, the right answer is A. Number 26. The scatterplot shows the relationship between two variables, x and y, for dataset E. So this line is dataset E. A line of best fit is shown. Dataset F is created by multiplying the y-coordinate of each data point from dataset E by 3.9. Which of the following could be an equation of a line of best fit for dataset F? We need to find the equation of a line for dataset F, and for that we'll need to find the slope, which can be found with this formula. Now for this we have to find two set of coordinates for dataset F. But first let's find the y-intercept of dataset F. We know that we have to multiply the y coordinate by 3.9. And we have a hint that this could be 12. So we could multiply 12 times 3.9, and the answer will be 46.8. And this is the y-intercept, so that means that y is equal to 46.8 when x is equal to 0. So this will be 0 and y will be equal to 46.8, which means that C and D cannot be the right answer. Now to find the right answer, we need the slope. So we know that the y-intercept of this dataset F starts at 46.8. So it goes around that. Something like that. For dataset F. So we have one pair of coordinates. The values of x don't change at all. So when x is equal to 0, we found that y is equal to 46.8. Now we need another one. We could use this point. And x is equal to 2. When x is equal to 2, y for line E is 15. But remember that we have to multiply by 3.9 because we want to find the slope of line F. So 15 times 3.9 is equal to 58.5. That's it. We have the 2 points we need. So when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 58.5. This will be equal to x1, y sub 1, 2 will be equal to x sub 2, and 58.5 will be y sub 2. So we replace those values on our slope equation. The slope is equal to y sub 1, 58.5 minus 46.8 divided by x sub 2 is equal to 2 minus x sub 1, which is 0. So the answer is 58.5 minus 46.8 divided by 2. So finally the slope is equal to 11.7 divided by 2, which is 5.85, close to 5.9. So our slope can be 5.9. Therefore, if this is the slope, the equation of the line f is equal to the slope 5.9 times x plus the x-intercept, which is 46.8, this is the right answer, which is A. Number 27. In the given system of equations, r is constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of r? First, we know that the system has no solution, so that means that both equations or lines are parallel, that both equations are proportional. That means that the coefficient for one variable multiplied or divided doing any operation can be the same as from the other equation. Now let's rearrange both equations. Let's start with the first one. So 48x minus 64y. This 48 will come to the other side of the equation with a negative sign, negative 48y equal to 24. Now let's add these terms. 48x minus 64 minus 48 is 112y equal to 24. Let's rearrange the second equation. This negative 12 will come to the other side of the equation with a change sign. 12x plus r times y equal to 1 divided by 8. So we get these two equations, and as we can see, if we divide this first equation by 4, all the three terms, we'll get the same coefficient of x. 48x divided by 4 is 12x minus 112y divided by 4 is 28y equal to 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we have this final equation, and let's compare it with the second equation. 12x plus r times y is equal to 1 divided by 8. Now we can see the coefficients. 12 is equal to 12. That's true. So for y, the coefficients have to be the same. So r has to be equal to negative 28. This is the answer. R is equal to negative 28.